Right, we are back. Yes, it's a different day. I've got a new t-shirt on, but we're going to get through these finesse cuts. So these finesse cuts are, I've seen other bushcrafters do them, right, but I think they deserve their own little video, which is why I've put them in this, right? They're the small, tiny, intricate movements that you actually do with your hand to get really good, fine control over your knife. And there's a couple of little things that I identify which make a big difference. So these are going to be the finesse cuts. Right. And to demonstrate how delicate these cuts can be, I'm actually going to carve into one of these, right? So the first thing is called the reinforced thumb technique, right? Where you're actually going to hold your blade in the normal forehand grip and then place your blade facing where you want to cut roughly, right? And then all you're going to do is get your thumb on the back of the blade and push. Grabbing it with this, like that, and you're just going to push. And it allows you to really finely take bits off and do tiny shavings. For whatever you want to do, like I've carved a hawthorn thorn into a fish hook. Now, once you get down to really doing some fine carving on a hawthorn thorn, you start to develop new ways of being real careful with your knife. And these are where I really started to focus on these really tiny, intricate cuts. Now, I'm not saying that I've created these, because I haven't, because like I say, I've seen other bushcrafters using these, right? But they just don't know what they're doing. Well, they do know what they're doing, they just haven't identified it as a type of cutting, you see, they just instinctually do it. But I'll show you the level of control that you can get with these cuts, because basically I've made a very tiny feather stick here. I just call them finesse cuts because that's what they are. You're really finessing the knife and using it in a very skilled, delicate way, very controlled, clean draws of where you want to do it. There you go. You see? I'll just give you an idea, if I put too much pressure on this, it'll just come off. So you've got to really be careful, because this stick is not strong at all. Right? The next one is very similar, but you can produce more force for this, right? I call it the finger draw, right? So what you're going to do is, as you place your thumb on the back of the knife, you're going to pull the piece this way with your fingers and push your thumb. So you can do a combination of both. So if you want to do that, it's just a little bit more force behind the blade if you need to. So I'm going to pull this way, and I'm going to push this way. So I'm almost doing that with the stick, sliding my thumb forwards and pulling the piece with my fingers backwards. So you can actually apply a fair bit of force through this. Draw backwards, push forwards. Draw backwards, push forwards. And I'm gripping it with my little finger and this finger, these two, and these are pulling back. But you can draw longer lengths out of it. And this is if you want to just take the material down to a certain degree quite quickly. Yeah, like that. And the next one is something that I call the wrist rock. So same again, you're going to use almost a reinforced thumb on this side now. And you use it for carving up to notches, but you instead of really gouging into the wood and pushing like that, you're just going to use it ever so slightly. Just rock your wrist back. Same again, I'm kind of using all three. You see how tightly I'm choked up on the knife like that? And it's just to get underneath. I use these a lot, you see, on triggers as well. You can see almost the shape that it's give it. It's swooping in. And like I say, I've seen a lot of bushcrafters use this very similar thing, without even knowing probably, when you're doing notches. Now we're going to try to do some finer knife detail work, but on one of these. So I'm going to carve your basic notches. I'm going to use all the techniques that we've discussed before. So there we go, it don't get much more delicate than that. I mean, look, watch. Yeah, that's literally how thin I carved it down to that point. So the big knife can do everything that I can see the small bushcraft knife can do. Happy days. But there's some knife skills that you can use with the big knife, with a small knife. Like I said, the small knife is still absolutely brilliant, but yeah, some things exclusive to the big knife. Now, a quick chat about body position, really, right? So, main thing is, I've mentioned it before, your body is always away and to the side, yeah? And when you're chopping, like one thing you can do with this flick chop, yeah? Or the chop cut, should I say, yeah? Takes it down like that. But I'm well away. Also, if you're using it here, yeah, or there, I'm behind the blade. Side saddle, that position, same again, well away. Outside of that, if you're chopping there, just keep your body out of the way of the blade. That's the easiest thing. Another thing, which I don't really like doing because it's still a little bit naughty, but you can do if you're in a confined space and you're having to carve or something, body blocks, right? So if I'm carving here, yeah, you want to make sure that if the knife moves too far, yeah, a part of me hits my body before the knife does, yeah? So that is a body block. Yeah, I'm contacting, my forearm is contacting. They say the same about that one, which is why I don't like them. Yeah, as you draw it towards you, which you never should do, the knife hits you before the blade does. I still don't like them. I don't use in body blocks. I've never seen a situation where I can't get myself out of the way. You're carving between your legs, make sure your legs are nice and wide, and you're carving there. Same again, there's nothing in front of me to hit the blade, yeah? Honestly, it's common sense. You boys know, as long as there's no point of view in front of the blade at any time, you never can cut yourself. The #1 golden rule, yeah? But like I say, my favorite position to carve is here. I can't think of any others, yeah? There, and well over, yeah? There, or on something like this. Another good thing as well that you can do, bushcraft knife, big bushcraft knife exclusive. Chop that way. Same again. Don't hit my knuckles on there. see. Large amounts of material. And there we have it. Bushcraft knife skills, either with a small one or a big one. You can use the vast majority of them if you've got the big bushcraft knife or you've got the small one, but there is some exclusive skills that you can do with the big one. I find it very efficient just to whip a limb off a tree, delimb it, bam, 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 put a point on the end, take the edge off, boom, tent peg, happy days. But yeah, if you like this kind of content, then YouTube Things That Matters video up here, and don't forget, give me a like and a subscribe if you fancy it, and hit that, and I'll see you there.